Okay, we are recording. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and at least my dog. I'm sitting here with JCM Berne to talk about self-publishing. Somehow, we've talked about this kind of stuff before, so a lot of the stuff that I've been focusing on this week, Joe has been kind enough to cover in years past, so we'll come up with something else. First of all, Joe, you've been saying that you're well. Actually, two things. First off, number one, how wise is it for you to be displaying your copies of Invincible right behind you quite so prominently? I mean,
I have never pretended that anything in my work is original. I have worn my influences on my, well, not literally on my sleeves because I don't wear printed T-shirts that often, but I've been very open. I mean, I think the first comp I had, the first like the blurb on Amazon was like if might have been if Thor and Harry Dresden had a baby, but it might have been Invincible and Harry Dresden had a baby. But either way, it's the same. But Invincible was the number one inspiration for the hybrid helix. Like it was the specific thing that said me, and I pulled in all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of
absolutely.
It's all kinds of Doctor Who and Malazan and Tower of God, all kinds of stuff pulled in from that's the joy, right? We can steal. And I mean, and the difference is, at my age, I can just steal from a lot of places. You meet these 25-year-olds and like, I take from everything I've ever read. And I'm like, but I'm twice your age, right? Everything you've ever read could fit on like 3 of those shelves, right? Like, read for 20 more years and then see what you can steal, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, Invincible was a huge, and this is also funny, like, there's always a thing where you try to get your books to specific, booktubers or reviewers.
Sure.
And there's this one reviewer who I like what he says about it. He's a good reviewer. I like his booktube channel. His name is Tom Orange. Seems like a great guy. But similar to other booktubers, but then I saw that he was working his way through the Invincible compilation and speaking very highly of it. And I was like, oh, this guy should read my book. I'm like, dude, man. I'm like, Tom, you gotta if you're gonna read, he reads books, right? He's a book guy. And I did. I sent him Wistful of sending like the audio, and he has spoken highly of it on his channel. So I'm just like, yes, like these are easy sells. If someone loves Invincible, I feel like they're an easy sell for me, because it's just some very similar tone.
Yes, yeah,
I guess.
And I know, like the first time I talked about Wistful, I at least the cover and maybe actually the content as well, I compared to Invincible.
Yeah, it's very it's Invincible and Harry Dresden are probably the biggest comps in terms of. Dresden is more of a structural tone thing. Invincible is really the setting is. There's things I don't like about the Invincible setting, so I just took them out. Right, that's the other part of it, right? Because when I steal, it's always with that. It's always stealing with spite. I always steal where I'm like, okay, this property does stuff that I love. It's always stuff that I love, right? I love that what they do, but there's one way that I wish it were different. It's like fanfic, kinda.
Yeah.
So I take the things I don't like in Invincible, like I don't like multiverse stories. I think they annoy me. I feel like they reduce stakes and they give me that feeling of, oh, we're just unfair because we can pull in anything from anywhere and just it's like you're removing too many of the constraints that make stories good, and then so I just don't have it. Okay, no multiverse in my all right, problem solved.
There you go.
Solved. So but what I have on my shelves is a lot of. I try to focus on putting up there the things that influenced me more. There's like a lot of manga down there. You can't really see, my camera's not set up right, but there's a lot. The stuff's on there is the stuff that generally that's the things that I buy in print and keep.
Sure.
I do most of my reading digitally now, or I have for like 10, 15 years. And there's lots of great books I've read that aren't really like in my genre exactly. What was I just reading? I was just reading some epic fantasy that I really enjoy, but it's not, it's too different from the way I write. So it's probably not going on the shelf, but except for Malazan, which is nothing like what I write, but I love those books so much that they're on the shelf. I have the broken binding, it's special editions still in the packaging behind me somewhere, because I just love those books, even though they're not a good,
Still in the packaging though.
Yeah, I'm really. I don't know.
I'm with Toy Story 2 and watch that a couple more times here.
I'm just a procrastinator about that. I have all this stuff that's still in boxes, and I don't know. I'll get to it. I'm sorry, you were saying.
Oh,
So
no. I was gonna say, you said both before we hit record and earlier this week that you're like in heavy drafting mode. So which book is this? Is this 9? Is this
this is
11? I mean, like,
9.
how far ahead are you? Oh, you're still okay. So you're
This
not
is 9.
you were just working on the next one. You are not even you're not doing like edits on one while you're working on number 10 or anything like that. You're just focused.
I almost never do that.
Okay.
I find it really hard. And the exception I've been making, which is not by choice, is I am doing the edits on the audio for an older book because
Sure.
my narrator, Wayne Farrell's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
He is recording right now. So like tomorrow, I'm going to spend like 3 hours going through audio files, reading along to the old book. And it's not the same as editing your own work, right? Because I'm not changing very much. Mostly I'm just doing this very low intelligence thing of just like, do the words match between what he says and what's on the page? And very rarely do I actually change it. I mean, I'm just sort of saying, oh, Wayne, you said band instead of bard, right? That's the kind of thing that happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the same. It's very similar, but it's like, you got to fix it. So I send him a correction anyway. So in that case, I'm working on 2 things at once, but that's not really work. But I will finish this book almost, almost ready for publication before I write even a sentence of the next book. But I will be thinking potentially about the next book while I'm editing this book.
Sure.
So because when it goes to my editor, I have a line editor basically. I don't use a developmental editor. I just don't. I probably should, but I don't. But my line editor, she gets the book and it takes her a month to come back with the first draft, the first round. I go through that whole thing, make whatever changes I'm going to make, and I send it back to her. And the second time, it's usually much faster because she's just going through what I, objected to, like whatever. And then maybe she'll make a suggestion. I'll say, no, I don't quite like that. And then she'll come back with whatever. So during that month, I can really start thinking about the next book.
Yeah.
Right. It's like built in like scheduling. And then, but the heavy drafting, I just don't have the brain power to try to work on like 3 volumes at once.
Right.
I know people who do, but I can't. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So the line editor, I don't know if we mentioned this before, but I've been asking some other people, like, how did you find her?
Oh God.
The
worst possible way.
Oh, good.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I literally, so my first editor and I did not mesh.
Oh.
Not saying she wasn't good, but various ways we didn't mesh. That happens. And I found her just like literally, I think I Googled like fantasy, like editor, right? Like, I mean, I didn't know anybody. I didn't poll anyone to figure out who's good, who's not good. I know good editors, right? I'm friends with Sarah Chorn. I'm sure Sarah's worked on some of my stuff before. I'm sure she would again. But this Lauren I found, I literally went to like Our Fantasy on Reddit and she had an ad. And I was like, oh, she sounds good, which is the stupidest, like, it's the stupidest possible way to find. Like, I look back and I'm like, how the hell did that work?
Oddly enough, she said good things about herself in her ad.
Right. And that's so dumb. But I can give, okay. And Lauren, I love there's something about the way she works, like just the way she like to puts the comments in the files, the changes she makes where she keeps my voice. I love her. She's fantastic, but like, that's luck. That's huge luck. Cause I've worked with a number of editors and none of them are as good as her. And like, she's not cheap, but she's not the most expensive. She's not cheap anyway. But I will tell aspiring writers, one, I strongly recommend if you can find other writers who write like you, ask them who does their line edits. Like if you write a lot of jokes, you want someone who can handle a lot of jokes. If you write very purple, you want someone who's going to not take your purple prose and try to change it. Right. Because right. But if you find someone else who writes purple just like you, then well, who's your editor? Maybe, I don't mean you don't ask Harry, you don't ask like Jim Butcher who his editor is. You find a self-pub author you can comp to.
Yeah.
And the second thing is most editors will do a free pass. You send them like 3 pages, right? It's a relatively small sample and you see what they do with it. And if they do if you're like, oh, this makes it better than it was, it's not just about fixing the mistakes. It's more like, does this Does this give me a better version of what I wanted? Is this truer to what I wanted on the page than what I wrote? Then you've hit gold.
And
right?
do you send published stuff as your test run, or you send like things in draft?
You wouldn't want to, right? You'd want to send something in draft.
Well, I guess part of me is like, okay, or I guess, well, you send like a draft of something you've already published. Like, do you come up with something as good as my final copy?
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I haven't thought about it. That might be a good. I would probably just send my newest thing that I'm working on currently that you want edited and see what they do with the first few pages. Yeah, Sarah Chorn did the developmental edits for Partial Function. Then I had someone else do the final like copy edit. Because Lauren, my Hybrid Helix editor, she's booked up pretty far in advance. So if I come up with something kind of real off the cuff, like the same thing with the Grim Dwarf, I had someone else edit that because otherwise I have to book Lauren like 6 months in advance. So that's just, which is fair. She's allowed to, she's allowed to have a work schedule, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But I that's my advice to other people. But as usual, I didn't follow it myself.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I like the fact that you're referencing Sarah Chorn, the only editor I actually know. So, okay, cool.
She's delightful. I'm like on her Discord. No, she does good stuff. I broke Sarah. I feel so bad about it. I was trying to get something that doesn't really exist. I was trying to get someone to help me with series level editing. Not a developmental editor for a novel, but for a series, sort of help me figure out where to put things like, can this go in book 5 or do I need to push it to book 7?
Yeah.
The problem is like that's extremely hard because you don't have 25 books written where you can hand it to someone and say, hey, read these 25 books and then tell me that thing in book 5, should that have been book like that? Sarah could do that. I think that would suck, right? That'd be a really hard job, but also I'd have to wait and write all 25 books and then hand them over for revisions. I don't have the patience for that.
No.
So I didn't do that. But and she tried to help me and it just did not. But she's done work on like she did great work on Partial Function. She helped me clean up a bunch of stuff that and you know, I'm happy with how that book turned out.
So when the HBO Max money comes in and you want to do special editions of Hybrid Helix, then you can
there you go. Oh, but usually with special editions, you don't change the text.
Right.
Although I find that funny. I always think you should, right? I'm my old joke, and I would not act. You've heard me say, I think I've said this before, right? I always want to have special editions where all the fade to black romantic scenes are filled in.
I don't think I've heard this. No.
It's like my running joke. Like I keep waiting for someone to actually do this. I don't think I would actually do it, but I just think it's a really hilarious because you've read my books. I'm not nothing against smut. I'm happy to other people read smut all you want. That's fantastic. It's not really my thing. So there's romance and sex in my books, but it's very off page. Right. I don't even know if there's an explicit kiss in my books. Maybe there is, but like certainly no more than that. Right. And I was always like, I could like get like a co-writer, like a romance, because I know romance writers. I know plenty of fill in, you know, and then, you know, that chapter it didn't end there, you know, and then release it, maybe put in like a sexy like alien lady on the cover, you know, on the internet, put some extra artwork in there which would go and release that as a special edition. No one does, like people include like extra short stories, but they don't usually change the actual content of the book.
No.
But we could. There's nothing stopping us except good sense.
George Lucas to come in and start changing the anniversary edition.
Just change all my books where Rohan just shoots first.
Yeah, there you go.
He didn't even have a gun. Well, he does now. The George Lucas special edition. I can call it that. Wait, what? So, yeah. Special editions are a thought. I keep a thought I've been putting off.
Okay. All right. But okay, you brought up audiobooks a little bit ago. So how many? I mean, this year, last 12 months, but have been pretty busy on that front for you.
Yeah. So Wayne,
I mean, one of the nice things that you talked about being a self-published is it's all yours. You're in control, and now you're hiring some guy to say, "Be Rohan and be my voice." How do you feel listening to that?
I I like Wayne's rendition. It's not quite what I would do. If I was an actor, I would do it myself because
Mm-hmm.
Rohan is, I have I have like a voice in my head when I write these characters. I know exactly what they sound like. I know
Yeah.
exactly the rhythm of the words, and that's why I write them the way they do. And Wayne is very close, but no one could get it quite right. Like it's
Right.
impossible.
Yeah.
But I know many I have heard only very positive things from audiobook listeners who listen, they love him.
Good.
And I'm not an audiobook person, right? So like it's hard for me to judge because I don't really listen to audiobooks, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but people generally love his stuff. So he did Wistful Sending, and then I waited too long to get him to do the later books, and then he was out of the business for a while because he had some other things going on. So when he came back, I was like, hey, you want to? So yeah, we've done 4 are finished, 4 more. So
Mm-hmm.
books, Eyes of Empire is on audio, and then I think I have most of Suppression of Powers on my hard drive, like ready. Like I've edited the first like 17 chapters, so I have to edit what's left, and he's almost done recording, or he might be done, or he might be. Anyway, it's almost done. Once it's done, that means it doesn't get into Audible for some period of time.
Sure.
But he asked me today for the Shield of the Mothership manuscript.
Oh.
So I think he
Yeah.
might be able to do that back to back.
Wow.
So some of it depends on if he gets like a better paying job, in the middle. Like, okay, that's fair. You gotta feed your kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has kids, but you know what I mean.
Right.
But the audio is interesting because it has not worked out for me financially, but it has opened doors critically because there are lots of people who have stacks of books, but not necessarily stacks of audiobooks, and many people who read both, right? They have like lawn mowing time where they can listen to an audiobook and they can't read, I read, right? So they're so I've gotten like Philip Chase, right, who's got a very big channel, and he had a book of mine on his shelf for like 2 years, and I was like, hey man, you want an audio Wistful Sending? He's like, I do. And he was just getting into audiobooks, and so he listened and he liked it. So now he's read like 3 of my books, and I would never have been in his queue for
Sure.
10 years, but until, if not for the audio. So that's opened some doors, which I love. I love because I love having if I can't have financial success, let me have critical engagement. Right. That's what I'm writing for at this point. that's my outcome, is can I get people like Philip Chase to read my books and talk to me about them? And he does, and it's fantastic. But you read it. I don't know why you read it. You picked it up off a book tour, originally.
Mm-hmm.
But getting a book tour done right now is very tricky. The book tour companies, the book tour company that you picked it up off of, they're not around.
No.
And I haven't found a good replacement. So anyway,
yeah. No,
but
those guys were fantastic to work with.
Yeah,
at least on my end.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
Oh, no, I 100% agree. But I think when I was ready to do another book tour, they were out of the business, which is they were making a lot of money. Those were not expensive.
No,
they were not raking in the bucks because I know what I paid to have them do my book tour. It was not a lot of money. Yeah, but the audio's been really good for that. Like Tom Orange, a guy I was just mentioning, who
yeah,
I was like, oh, he's like, but I know he does a lot of audio. And if I sent him a physical book, I don't know if he would have gotten to it this year. But I sent him Wistful Sending the code. He listened to it and he liked it. So now I'm like, okay. So that's been my experience. And then many people are making a lot of money on audio. That's not been my experience, but that's a whole separate. It's a whole separate depressing conversation. Don't write superhero stories, kids.
Yeah.
Stick to dark fantasy. Stick to grimdark. Epic grimdark war. Write war. People like that.
There you go.
Or lit RPG. Stick to lit RPG.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I was wondering why all of a sudden I've been hearing that Rohan is going to start talking about his stats when it comes to fighting.
I'm gonna put a stat block.
Yeah.
There are sequences in later books that are going to be a little more like cultivation fantasy in ways I can't explain yet, and a little more like lit RPG. But that was my intention from before I knew what lit RPG was. That was not. So you'll see. But it's like I love talking to people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, or when is it? Oh, that'll be like books like 16." I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, I have plans like that. So
Mhm.
I'll get there. I'll get there, but very slow. You get hints of where I'm going in, but well, you get hints of where I'm going in every book, but
Yeah,
you'll
I would
see.
assume so.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So how is, well, um, from your point of view and from talking to other people, how is self-publishing doing in 2026? Is this a good year? Bad year?
I think the consensus is it's not been great. There are
Okay.
certainly people who are having a lot of success.
Sure.
People selling a lot of books. It's been a good time for special editions. I'm waiting
Mhm.
for that market to get glutted,
Yeah.
right? You know, because as more and more people are coming out. I'm part of a Kickstarter anthology that's coming out.
Right.
We'll be launching in a month or two. Uh, p- a lot of people are coming out with the special editions of their books, but I mean, I think we've
Mhm.
already seen the peak of interest in that pass.
Sure.
But you can certainly make money, doing the Kickstarter special edition thing.
Yeah.
Um, we're seeing, Ryan Cahill's more successful than ever. So is Matt Dinneman. So we're certainly seeing people coming out of self-publishing. The top end is still very high.
Yeah.
Lit RPG is still selling, but many of us are the sort of mid list of the indie world seem to be doing worse in terms of
Hmm.
sales. Many people think it's because of AI competition from AI written books that flood Amazon and make discovery harder.
Sure.
Um, it's just, and then Amazon Amazon has over the last 10 years continually tweaked its algorithms and the way it handles advertising to
Hmm.
make your ads less useful,
Sure.
right? I mean Amazon's goal is to sell a bunch of books and have every book sold be driven by an ad with that is placed in such a way that the author pays 90% of what they earn to place the ad, right? I mean,
Okay.
they don't really want everyone to lose all their money, but they don't want anyone to make much,
Right.
right? And like I get it, like that's capitalism. It's a little frustrating. But like
Hmm.
10, 12, if you talk to indie authors who've been around since like 2015, 2012, 2016, apparently it was much easier to make money because Amazon hadn't figured out how to do this yet, but
Sure.
they've gotten better and better. The way they run the ads and the way they run the auctions and stuff, it's just become harder. And so I've mostly given up. I just don't. I mean, I have ads running. They just sort of like in a way that it just doesn't cost me very much. Like it's under $100 a month, and then it draws in some readers. I just like to keep the momentum going. And I sell books every day, but I'm not seeing growth
Mm.
year over year, and that's
Okay.
disappointing and frustrating. But I don't know. I don't know
Sure.
what to say. I don't have answers. I think the people I see doing really well are mostly working in narrow genres, and that's what happens, right? There's certain kinds of books that people want to read. They
Hmm.
read something similar and like, what's the next one that's kind of like this, and they pick it
Yeah.
up, and then that's how you blow up. And
Hmm.
no one, no one popular is writing books like mine. So, and that's the thing, right? It's like people love Invincible, but what I hope for on a sort of financial level is that someone watch a season of Invincible and then go, what are some books that are like this, and do that kind of query. And I
Yeah.
don't think that happens.
No.
Like, or very almost no one does that. No one's like, oh, I just came out of watching like the new Marvel movie. What's a book that'll give me that same vibe? And they just
Hmm.
don't. People don't. Or if they do, those searches, I don't know how to get those searches to come up with me. Even though I think if you read Invincible and you want a book to read, I'm a pretty good choice. But
Oh yeah.
I don't know how to get that information into the brains of all the Invincible readers or watchers. I mean, the cartoon does really well. If you watch the
Yeah.
Invincible, I
Yeah.
love it. I think it's
Oh
great.
yeah.
Um, but if I could somehow get an ad on there, but I mean, I don't. Again, people watch the cartoon. I don't think they go, "What's a book that'll give me this same vibe?" It's just
Yeah. No. You need somewhere in the cartoon Alan to say, "Hey, Mark, have you read this guy's stuff? It's like you." Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I need to get what's his name drunk or something at some con and
there
get
you
the
go.
idea into his head.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name who wrote Invincible, which is on
Kirkman.
my show. Yeah, yeah,
Kirkman.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Kirk. Yeah, thank you. I'm terrible with names. I've never met Kirkman. I don't move in those circles.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's easy to whine.
So, but it's not just you. Like you said, mid list, which I guess is a thing for self publishing. It's
There's no list.
yeah,
But
right.
yeah, but the Ryan, I mean Ryan Kyle's doing better than ever. I know
Hmm.
other people are doing better than ever. There, I'm sure Matt Dinneman is having crazy success. But the people in my sphere, in terms of my level of sales and KU reads, the
Hmm.
one I hear a little bit of buzz that they're generally not, things are not moving. It's really hard, right? It's really hard to get discovery. It's really hard to get
Yeah.
people to, how do you get someone and say, here's a cover, and by the way, this will be an experience that you will appreciate. Like
Hmm.
that's just bridging that gap is really tricky. And I do think that, I mean, I don't know, I suspect that my genre pick was not the smartest, but what are you gonna do? I
Yeah.
mean, I'm gonna keep plugging
I'm not
away. I've
complaining
given up.
about it, but yeah.
I mean, it's what I wanted to write. I'm writing. Look, I'm writing what I love. People read it. Again, I do get critical engagement, which is phenomenal. It's
Sure.
going good.
Yeah.
It's going good. So, but yeah,
Um.
but
Yeah.
the market's
So,
not great.
um, going back to Wayne, how did you find him? And
Oh,
what
so
was that like? I need someone, and I found, or was there like a handful of people you tried, or was it love at first hear?
mm,
Mm,
I mean, if you are a big name, you want to go with the big names. But like like Travis Baldry's not going to answer my calls.
right.
And I can't afford him. Right? There's a two-edged sword there. There's a company. I guess it's a subsidiary of Amazon called ACX. It,
Okay.
it, it, it it's like it's more like a program within Amazon that lets you, or within Audible, that lets
Mhm.
you has all the infrastructure in place for you to create audiobooks. So what that means is you can go there, and there is a like a whole bunch of narrators who work with them, like many like hundreds or thousands,
Yeah.
and there's a whole infrastructure in place where you can put in, you go to ACX, you make an account, you say, this is my book. They say, oh, your book's on Amazon, so you're a real person, and then you can say, I'm willing to pay this much per finished hour. That's how you pay narrators. You pay per
Mhm.
finished, there's a number, right? So like my books are like 13 hours, right? So like if I'm paying like $200 an hour, it's like $2,600, right? That's what I pay. I don't know. It doesn't take them 26 hours, 13 hours to record. It takes much longer.
Right.
They got to edit, record, they go over their mistakes, whatever. So it's the finished hour. I don't pay them for their work. I pay them for the product. That's the standard in the industry. So you
Hmm.
go to ACX and you upload. Again, it's a sample, just like with editors, right? It's like, I forget, it's like 3 pages or 10. I don't think it's 10 pages. It's enough to make like a 3-minute trial. And you put
Okay.
it up there, and then all the people who want to be narrators, which is not a trivial number of people,
Right.
they can look at your thing, they can read your thing, they can see the number you're offering, and they
Hmm.
record your 3 minutes and they send it to you. And I did this in a couple years ago. I think it was 23, beginning of 23, but I'm not positive, something like that.
Yeah.
And Wayne was one of the people who responded, and he was the one with the British accent. I think he's very good, but something in me, because I was a PBS child, I still feel that British accents are like extra classy,
Hmm.
and I was like, well, this is extra classy. That he all the all the prose part. Like Rohan, he gives a very American accent, probably too American, probably not Canadian enough, but it's a very subtle difference.
Yeah.
He doesn't say a quite right, but I can't blame him. Right? It's okay. Um, but yeah, so I liked his thing, and it was very close call. Like there were 5 that I really liked. I
Hmm.
listened to them like 100 times, and I'm sure if I was an audiobook person, like I know Brian Bell. I don't know if you know Brian Bell. He's another booktuber, big into audiobooks, and he's starting his own audiobook company. And he thinks I would have had more critical success with a more like American accent, that the British accent to an American audience doesn't go with an action story as
Hmm.
well as like a more sort of standard voice. And he might be right. I might have sold a bunch more books if I picked one of the other. You'll never know. You never know.
Yeah.
But I liked Wayne's
Hmm.
reading a lot. It's like, oh, this is good. So I hired him. That was
Yeah.
it. And then ACX is neat because they handle the contract. So like they're the ones who are like ensuring on both ends that the money gets transferred. So you're not calling your own lawyer to write anything up.
Mm-hmm.
They all have boilerplate contracts. You have an account with them. The narrator has an account with them. I don't know if I pay him. I don't think I pay him through them, but they like have all these things where like I upload the things. He has to tell them, yes, I got paid before they'll publish the book. So we're both protected by the infrastructure.
That's good.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
I don't mean I don't trust Wayne. I just mean like if you are new and you are meeting someone online to do your audiobook, you don't know them, right?
Right.
They will largely protect you from scams. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
There are other ways to do it, but the downside is to really make the money. You're pretty much stuck with Audible.
Yeah.
So it's just like everything else in the Amazon ecosystem. They're trying to trap you, and they do. They trap you. And I don't know too many people who have had success outside of Audible, like with just regular narration. There are people doing like full cast narrations. There's a company out in, I want to say Australia, that's doing them. I don't know how much money those people are. I know someone who had a book going out with them, but I don't know if they're making any money. So I don't know. It's tricky. But
I would think, especially self-pub, that sounds expensive. But to hire more than one person to do something.
Yes, that company will do it, and then I don't know if they will pay you up front or if they will only pay you on the back end.
Yeah.
If it sells, but they are fronting that. So if you go with like Podium, but it's always like Podium's not going to publish a book like mine, right? Like I would need a lot more sales. Like I have I have like 600 Goodreads ratings. If I had 60,000 Goodreads ratings, I could call Podium. And good chance Podium would be like, oh, okay, maybe there's something to be, if I had done that when I first, I'm not saying Podium is going by Goodreads ratings alone, but I mean, that's a kind of marker they will look at.
Right.
And so it's always like that, right? That's how if you have a huge audience already, people will help you grow it. Same with Broken Binding, right? Broken Binding special edition. If they see you've sold a ton of books, they're going to want to do a special edition because it's, they don't want to do one of mine. Who knows? They might. I think they would sell a ton, but they don't know that, right? So,
right.
It's tricky.
Yeah. And okay, so what can you say about this Kickstarter campaign that's coming up here? I think in the next 50-ish days. Well, time of recording, 50-ish days.
So it's a bunch of indie authors, and we all came up with a short story. So I have a short story in it that it's set in the world of the Grim Dwarf, but I don't know that you could tell that if you read it, except that I'm saying it now. Like there's no actual there's no connection in the story directly, and we all had to make a story around the theme of rings. So of course I had it tie into rings in like 6 different ways in 5,000 words because I can't help myself. And they're great. There's some great stories in there, and it's going to be on Twitter and all social media and newsletters, and there's 30 of us, so we're all promoting it heavily. The sort of the brain trust, the people at the core of it who set it up and really designed it, and is Ro Boucher and Mike Molman. I don't know if you know Mike Molman. They have their own YouTube channel where they interview authors. Bald and Balding.
Okay,
they're
rings a bell. Yeah.
Mike Molman's a great guy. I've read a couple of his books. Wonderful, very funny stuff. I hung out with Mike quite a bit at Worldcon last year. He's a really nice guy, and Ro's great. I've talked to Ro online, and it was their brainchild. So we'll see. Yeah. These are cool little things, but it's all these are all asides to me.
Right.
And I think that the trick they're trying to do is if you buy the Kickstarter, we'll send you like a story a week out of the thing by email. So you get like a little constant deluge of the stories from there. And then you get the physical copy at the end. So it's going to be, I'm sure it'll be cool. Yeah. I don't know. I do feel like there's, I don't know. I don't know. I keep thinking there's going to be saturation on these anthologies, but maybe not. Maybe there's a bigger market for it than I think. So,
and I mean, I've kickstarted and really enjoyed 2 of the. Here's a bunch of people that know each other online. In the last year, I'm ready for another one.
I really want to do Hybrid Helix special editions. I want to get like 3 books in one with like fancy binding and metal edges and all that stuff. The problem is I'm a really bad art director, and I know it. Like, I'm not good at finding people who will make art that's working, like in to that'll sell what I have, like, because I'm really tempted to like find like real comic book artists do the covers, but I'm like, I don't think that will actually get my reader. My readers are not generally comic book people. Some are, but most aren't. So I don't actually think that's going to sell me any books. But I'm really tempted. So if I find the right art director, I'll definitely make a special edition. But as of now, it's not happening. I need someone who's like good at, because there are people who are good at like picking artists. Like Adrian Gibson's really good at that. Baptiste Pinson-Wu, I don't know if you know him. He's an indie author. He has phenomenal covers for every book he puts out. They're gorgeous, different artists. And he's not an artist. He just picks them. But every cover, I'm like, damn, that cover is amazing. He's just really, he goes on ArtStation and he looks through portfolios and he finds people who are going to make art that looks good for his books. That's a skill set that I do not have. I've tried. And art direction, like giving them the prompt that'll get out the product that will look good, that's a skill I do not have. I'm really bad at it. I've worked at artists. The thing with Chris McGrath is I tell him what I want. He does something completely different and it's good because he's Chris McGrath. Right. That's none of that is for me. I give him briefs, like what I think the cover should look like, and he never does any of it, because that's how Chris works. Chris does what he wants, but it's better than what I asked for. So it's like, okay, what are you going to do? So those are great. Okay.
Off the top of your head, and if you can't, that's fine, but off the top of your head, can you remember what you suggested for Eyes of Empire? Because that's the one that's freshest in my mind.
I think I said I wanted Rohan fighting cat people, but I was envisioning like a one-on-one with like a cat person, and he had him fighting a whole bunch of them. And I'm like, there's very specific plot elements that means that can't happen. They won't ever gang up on him because that's part of the culture. And it's like, okay. So then I had him sort of change it. And I said snowy mountains because I wanted mountains. So actually what he came up with was actually not that far off from what I asked for.
Sure.
And then the Prey of Angels cover, he put Terry on the cover, which I was very happy. Oh, you haven't met Terry yet.
I haven't met Terry yet. I've heard about Terry, but
Terry the Pterosaur.
Yeah.
But that's maybe my favorite cover so far. I really like the Return of the Griffin cover with the shark that no one sees.
Oh, right. Now once you pointed it out, I can't stop seeing it for what it's worth. But
I mean, it's enormous.
Yeah.
but it's not just you. I've had so many people say, I didn't even notice there was a shark on the cover. I'm like, it's this huge shark.
Huge shark.
It takes up the whole cover.
Yeah.
How could you miss it?
I've been asking myself that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then I think we're gonna have I think we're gonna have a Hyperion on the cover of book 9.
Oh wow.
That is the plan. I saw Chris did, because he uses photo references, right? So he'll take photos of a real model and use that as a reference to make he doesn't copy. These aren't photos, but he'll paint from the photo.
Yeah.
And I saw him use a character in another cover, and I'm like, dude, that would be a Hyperion. Like, that's perfect. That guy's perfect. And he's like, oh, I can use that. I'm like, all right.
Oh, cool.
Next book. Next book. So
yeah,
I should be getting that soon.
How are you doing on your projected like 2 books a year kind of thing?
I fell behind by a book.
Yeah.
So I think I don't remember why. I got like, I don't know if I have an explainable reason. But I fell behind by a book, but I think
coming after you. Don't worry about it.
I think I can get back on track. Part of the problem is like getting, like, Chris is busy.
Right.
So I have to either follow his schedule and publish as often as he'll get me covers, or pull the trigger and get covers from someone else.
Right.
Which is, I want to, but I don't want to, right? I feel very conflicted about it. I did for Suppression of Powers has a non-Chris cover.
Right.
And I could do that. I could do like every other or every third book could be from someone else, but I don't know. Like, I don't know what makes the most sense. I don't know if it makes more sense to publish a little slower and just keep the Chris covers. I could also write them ahead. I could, like, I don't know. Like this is tricky, right? There's no good answer, and this is the problem with this is to me the problem with being self-pub is that you are the publisher, and like these decisions should be made by a publisher, not by me.
Yeah.
Or an agent. These are the people who know how to make these sort of decisions.
Mm-hmm.
This is my only project is this, right? I don't have a wealth of experience. Oh, we know if you switch cover artists, it's not good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I'm sure publishers know this sort of, I don't know, right? So it takes all my brain power just to like try to write good books, let alone figure out how to like get the good covers and what release schedule I should be on. But I'm not going to ever be too much slower than 2 books a year. I kind of can't because I want to finish the story before I'm too old to finish it. You know, if I write 1 book a year, I could die. You know, more likely I will die before finishing it. Right? I have 16 books to go. I don't want to be 70 when the last book comes. I mean, that wouldn't be the worst thing, but that's not the plan.
Yeah.
So I want to try to get them out faster, but I don't see myself going faster than 2. But I should be able to get back on 2 a year.
Okay.
So I was like, I did like 3 in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I can get back on 2 a year, I think I'll be happy. And I know it needs to happen in the books. So that part of that's not the problem. The problem is the getting everything else on track. And then I was considering using a different editor at one point. And then by the time I went back to Lauren and said, you know what, I do really want to use you for this next book, that she had been scheduled out like 3 extra months. Right. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll wait 3 extra months. So it's all tricky. So now what I need to do is when this book is done and Lauren's working on it, I'm going to say, let me book you for the next book.
Yeah.
And she'll give me a date in like 6 months. And I will not have even started writing that book, which I do not recommend. No one do this, but this works for me because once I have that date, that's the only way I can write. It's bad, man. HC, it's not good.
You said this before that her schedule dictates yours.
I book the date before I write the first word. And then I'm such a procrastinator. The only way I can write the first word is if I know I absolutely have to start that book or I'm never going to finish it in time. Yeah. That's the only thing that gets me to the typewriter. It's, well, you know, it's not a typewriter, it's a keyboard, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's bad. It's like a character flaw, but what are you going to do?
At this point, probably not much.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm not young enough to change.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Just go with it. Well, that's the thing. You got to figure out who you are and go with it, and like work a system that works with who you are. Yeah, right? This works. So
yeah,
but it's stressful.
And that's one of the things that the other authors I've talked to that'll be airing this week. You are a publishing house yourself, and you got to figure this stuff out. And so much is trial and error, and there's only so much you can go to other authors and you can get some advice, you can get some input, but I mean, it's hard to take too much.
There is probably a smart path to take to publish my books. I don't know what it is, right, in terms of the marketing strategy and stuff. And no one else is writing really what I'm writing, so I can't even copy. If I was writing Dragon Rider books, I'd go to Ryan. I'd be like, dude, how do you work this? But I'm not writing Dragon Rider books. Nothing wrong with Dragon Rider books, right? Like they're great, but that's not what I want to. Every once in a while, I'm really motivated to work on my Dragon Ridden. I told you my Dragon Ridden. There's this series I sketched out about people who have little tiny dragons ride their backs into battle, to mirror the Dragon Rider stuff. It's like no, the dragons ride the people.
Yeah,
and it was actually a pretty good story I had worked out, but I'm like I don't care enough about it to actually write it. That's the other problem, right? If it's not like I don't know what I could do if I let's say, if I didn't have a job and I needed to pay the rent, could I write like good lit RPG that would fast enough? And I don't know, but like I have a day job, right? I don't need I'm not paying my rent with these books. So like, it has to be something for me to like end my work day and spend 2 hours writing when I could be like looking at the sunset or drinking whiskey or like watching TV. It has to be something I love because the money's not motivating enough. The chance of it making enough money to impact me is just, it's remote. Right. So I write what I love.
Yes, exactly.
Which is rewarding. So it works out in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm for one am happy about it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you just finished. You're like 4 books behind, man.
Yeah, I know. Honestly,
I'm messing with you.
I at least can tell you what happened. I had the hardest time coming up with what to write about Hyperion, and I was like stuck. I wouldn't let myself
Uh,
go on until I did, and then I
ah,
last year I had to like at the end of last year I was like, okay, here's a bunch like 100 plus books. I just said nope, I'm not doing anything, and that freed me up, and I could go on and I could do uh,
uh,
Empire, and it
yeah,
fit in nicely with one of my book challenges, so I put it off till
right.
July's challenge. I can do Isaac Empire, and now I can get
Yeah, yeah,
moving again.
yeah,
Yeah, I've got a
yeah.
friend. I turned him on to one series a while ago, and he's read them all, and he just doesn't understand why I haven't read them yet. And
You
I'm
read a
I'm
lot of stuff.
I'm like 4 or 5 books behind on this one series, and he nags me about it at least 4 times
Yeah.
a year. Um, and I met him for lunch a couple weeks ago, and I didn't even know he was there, and he just slammed down a book in front of me, and he bought the most recent book for the sole purpose of giving it to me.
Right. Right.
I
Now
mean,
you
he
have
read
to read them all.
it, but yeah, he read it, and then he gave it to me, and he's like, "There you go."
Yeah.
It
You
was
also
pretty
read very broadly. You're not reading just sci-fi and fantasy or just superhero book, right?
right. Yeah,
So you don't want to like not read your mysteries. I know you read a lot of theology, which I'm always very amateurly read your analyses of Christian theology, and I'm like, I don't understand like 90% of what you're saying, but it's
yeah.
really interesting despite that. So
But
I mean,
yeah,
I don't comment because I have nothing. I have nothing. I mean, I have a philosophy background, so I understand probably more than a complete layman would, but not.
hmm
I'm not Christian. I wasn't raised Christian, so I'd say even more distance. But you always pick up a little bit of Christian theology if you do philosophy, because
I would
a
at
lot of the
least if you're
philosophers were
in the West. Yeah.
in the West, yeah, in Western philosophy, like they were a lot of crossover there
hmm
for a long time. Anyway,
Yeah.
not the point, but yeah,
No,
yeah.
probably not. Probably not. All right, man. Well, anything else you want to say about self-publishing? Um,
Yeah, do it only if you have to. So what
yeah.
people,
There you
other
go.
people always try to encourage young writers, and I'm like, no, write only if you can't not write. If you can quit and do something else, because this
Yeah.
is not it's a hard road. It's
hmm
not super rewarding. Most people are not making a lot of money, and it's a time sink and it's an energy sink, and it's wonderful. But you should only write it. And then people are like, oh, I want to write a book, but I don't know what I want to write about. And I'm like, don't.
Yeah,
Just
please.
right that there you go. Right, like only
I
write
don't
if
want
you
to
have
read
a
it.
story. If you have stories you need to see on the page, by all
hmm
means,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't discourage anyone who feels that way, but I know people who don't feel that way, who feel like they still want to be writers. And I'm like, no, just don't, just do something else. You've got there's so many things to do in the world.
Yes. Exactly.
Ski. I don't know, man. Right. There's so many things.
Yeah.
It's a
Actually,
hard gig.
I think yeah. Someone who really goes for top of the line skis and top of the line, ski wear, are probably making about as much money as a good self-published author. Especially if they
God,
go with Christopher Rath as their artist.
you do not want to see my tax returns. No aspiring writer would want to see my tax returns. It's ugly, ugly, man. And
Yeah.
people say like, "Oh, do you read any horror?" I'm like, "Yeah, every April I read horror." uh, Not the kind of horror you're thinking of, but yeah. So yeah, but I mean, but if you, that's one. If you can quit, and then if you can't quit, find a support system,
Yeah.
which is very likely going to be other writers, but it could be other people. But
Right.
those are the big pieces of advice, and uh, I don't have good like marketing specific advice, but the other thing is like if you really are compelled to write, but you're not confident about the publishing part is easy and it doesn't have to be expensive. Um,
Sure.
Getting a big reach, you're probably gonna have to invest money, but if you want to see your book in print and you want your friends to be able to read it, and you don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to make that happen. So do it, but only if you have to.
Only if you have.
Do it, but only if you have to.
All
There you
right.
go.
Okay. Well,
Thank
thanks a
you.
lot for your time, man. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. HC. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. And then, by all means, let's get you back to book 9. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, got that
I'm on a
deadline coming
roll.
up, man. Yeah, Lauren's waiting. All right.
Yes.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.